Alright guys, and welcome back to more Justice for All. We are about to resume from the last place where we saved it, and well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that a bright black guitar... Shut up, Judge! So you intend to push a theory that the case was not empty? Is that it, Wright? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours! You haven't proved anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? What could have been inside the case at the time of the murder? The suicide notes. Alright, let's do some let us do some process of elimination here. Nope. Is this a photo of what? A glossy photo Maya pushed onto me. It's a photo of the Nickel Samurai. I have no clue why this photo would be in a guitar case. Alright. Nope. Yes, the guitar case was inside the guitar case. Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? I do not know. What would have been inside the... Let's think, the murder weapon? No, the murder weapon was a knife and a scarf, right? What could have been in the damn case? A costume, perhaps? What could have fit inside a fucking guitar case? Okay, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? At the time of the murder? That would make sense, though. That would not make sense. If there was a costume inside the damn guitar case, why would she have it on here, walking out from on guard? I don't get it. So I don't think it's a costume. What the fuck? That's the only thing. Now that I think about it, that's the only logical thing I can think of right now. D killer. A lot of camera. Magazine clipping. Maybe it was a suicide death note. Maybe that's why she was looking in there. Found next to the victim is filled with tomato juice, bears, and Andrew's fingerprints. This is a photograph. Yes, but what is important is what's in that picture, Your Honor. In this picture, it doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I am proposing is, instead of the guitar case with the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. Wow. What? What the fuck is this guy? Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right? Are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she can make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? What is going on? I thought she... What? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct? You mean this photo? That ass, though. Gavel, gavel, gavel. Order, order. It looks like we wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume. Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai costume would have been Mr. Mad on guards. Why would something of the defendants be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places? Well, they were seeing each other, so she would have had access to his personal belongings. True. That is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was the Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? It was a spare costume? It was stolen from On Guard? Let's say it was a spare costume, probably. It had to be the truth because he was sleeping in his costume, right? And then the only way she was able to sneak... No, we had confirmed this at the beginning of the last episode because during the flashback, he was sleeping in his costume. She slipped a button into his Hakama. It was a spare costume. Mr. On Guard did not take his costume off during the break. In that case, the costume we are talking about was a spare one. What? Then are you saying that on the night of the murder, it was 2 nickel samurais? Yeah, that was really simple. That is what I'm saying. How do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had planned to bring this spare to the ceremony. I thought it was because maybe, you know, they were seeing each other and she had planned this ahead of time and she just placed it in the guitar case. That was my theory. That's hilarious. The victim, Mr. Karada, was the jamming ninja. Why would he secretly bring the nickel samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? So that's what he intended. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the nickel samurai spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the nickel samurai spare costume to the hotel was... I was thinking maybe to sabotage his press conference. But how do I go about presenting that? He wanted to fuck with him. They were rivals, right? So let's go around and say he was gonna fuck with him at the press conference. Damn, I don't know what to present here. Oh, the press conference ticket. Seems like the nickel samurai is to confess something after the post-ceremony stage show. Oh, this makes sense now, because you remember? Because, what was his name? What's his name? Matt said, I didn't know there was going to be a press conference. What I'm thinking is Juan probably set something up just to make him look like an asshole, to make Matt look like an ass. And he had that spare costume to make him look like an ass. Yeah. What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference? The Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Ungard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up to sabotage. Mr. Ungard, his career, his, I guess, his spotlight. Yes, the spare nickel samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Karaita was going to hold the press conference as the nickel samurai. That ass though! Devil! He was going to dress up as the nickel samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at the conference. The nickel samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Karaita, posing as the nickel samurai, was going to speak about Matt Ungard. Yes, I guess that is what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure. But that ass though. Miss Andrews, I can see why you are pros at what you can do. Pardon me? I was talking about your ass though. Wait, what? Just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Oh my god, that ass though! Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one who... I was the one he asked to help set it up. Wow. And the person who prepared the second costume for him was me. You? Juan had bet everything on the Gemmy Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. Oh shit. Oh my goodness. He had Regeki! That ass though! Gavel, gavel, gavel! And do you know what this secret of Matt Ungar's is, Miss Andrews? He had Dark Hole. He had all kinds of Regekis. He was Matt Ungar stacks cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! He has 3 Regekis. That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. Ah, I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone. But that's not, excuse me, that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all. Protect Mr. Ungard. And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, and the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him. Really? That's awkward. This does account for everything. She helps Juan set something up to basically have Matt, like, I guess, what is it? I don't want to say treason. Slander? Set Juan up to slander Matt in a weird way, but she wants to protect Matt? What the hell? We're finally seeing her true self. Her facade is lifted. She's more nervous than a scared rabbit. If there are no objections, I feel that I can pass a verdict based on this testimony. Now then, Mr. Wright, if you please. Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. Let's get it. Protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he did at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by evidence, of course, the button and the knife. The button and the knife. Let's press it right here. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and the murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from Jammy Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the Pleads of Matt's Hakama, isn't that correct? But you could have planted it there. I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Ugh! Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. What you trying to say, though? Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. Wow. Like, Nick gets no love, but then again, that's what he gets for being a dick to everybody. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. How would you know that? Let's press it right here. How do you know that? When the ends of the threads and the button and the cotton were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly, or so I heard. I heard that before too. But why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that. Just because I'm prepared and you are not. Ugh! I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. But what? And where?
But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt like I had to protect him.
So on that revised testimony, right here, we have to present something. The button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. Was he able to fight back? Time of death, strangled with the scarf, then stabbed with a knife. Yeah, if he was strangled. Alright, here we go. We got something. This is the victim's autopsy report, right? It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, right? Which means that it was ripped off the costume when? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means it is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle. Because the victim was strangled to death in that fight! That's right, Miss Andrews! This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's body. Oh shit, that ass, gavel, gavel, gavel. Order in the court. Look at that ass, order in the court. That ass though, order in the court. What is the meaning of this, right? So what if the button was thrown off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? Oh, what purpose? We now know that this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer has something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean you're right? To pin the crime on guard, of course. To have a memento of the crime to destroy evidence? To pin the crime on Matt on guard. There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Matt and guard. There's no way anyone would put a bloody button in their own pants. That's right, I said it. Mr. Ungard was set up. By the real killer, of course. That ass though, that ass could never kill. Gavel! And the real murderer is... Well, Mr. Ray, who in the world is the real killer? Adrian Andrews, we got that ass. That ass was a murderous ass. I can't believe I managed to bring the straw all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Don't let your guard down against that ass. Not until the very end. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. Ungard is... Adrian motherfucking Andrews. Also known as that ass, though. I choose you! You are Mr. Karida's killer! What? Glasses broke! That ass, though! Gavel, gavel, gavel! Order in the court, Mr. Wright! This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? All the evidence points towards Miss Andrews. How preposterous! You can't stick any of this on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? I'm about to let you know how it's real. Smacking these papers, the knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion on the man on guard naturally. A knife covered in a defender's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him was you! How many times are you gonna break these glasses? How many pairs do you have? Then, what about the butt that was found in Matt Hakama? You planted it there! This button was moved from the victim's body after he had already died. The only person who could have done so was the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Unguard was the real killer, there's no way he would have known. He would have put such incriminating evidence on his own Hakama. Damn, someone's gotta count how many glasses we just broke. The only person who could have put this button onto Mr. Unguard's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the empty guitar case? That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was such a costume inside the guitar case? It could have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you again, Miss Andrews! Right? Calm down. Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found in the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right! That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that, yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. You can't do this to me! And to top it all off, there's this photo! We got so much evidence for you! No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Unguard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it were him. Hold yourself in despair, Andrews. You going to jail. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please stop it. No, girl. How about it, Miss Andrews? I got her this time. Miss Andrews! I refuse to testify. What was that? What was that? You want to go to jail? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. What? That ass though? You can't incriminate that ass. You're absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. It's a law. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination of that ass. By allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to that ass. What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Unguard's room. Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Is that what she told her about the pleading the fifth? The fifth of the plea? Plead of the fifth? That's it! That's when Franziska planted this idea into her head. Inception. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things look bad. You did a great job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix, but there is still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? Oh man, Mr. Wright. What's wrong? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yeah, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single shred of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Karaida. That ass is safe, that ass is safe. Gavel, gavel, gavel. Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Karaida? I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, or maybe not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what the crime even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow we've landed in the worst possible situation. Gavel! I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof. But that's not true! In this situation, there's only one thing the court can do. Prolong the trial again. No! And that is to declare recess. Oh, no! Another recess? We don't have time for that. I request that both the prosecution and defense look further into this matter. And at tomorrow's trial, we can't wait until tomorrow. We don't have a tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today... Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial. Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Ha! You sweat bullets, bro? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya. Gavel! But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... Hold it, Judge! It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you... It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that is very true, but actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious of. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice, right? Yeah, and I can't help but how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken off, not stirring a glass of juice. Yes. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. Oh my God, that ass is about to be free. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he a friend or foe? I just don't know. Gavel, I'll tell you the truth. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please.